Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Ethan entrusted me to the care of his close friend, Julian. That very night, he cared for me by taking me to his bed. From then on, I was his assistant by day and his bedmate by night. After 6 years of this entanglement, I truly believed he harbored some genuine affection for me. That was until his childhood sweetheart returned home. Ethan asked you to look after Luna, and you really kept her by your side for 6 years. You haven't fallen for her, have you? Julian laughed, pulling the woman into his arms. It was just a casual thing. Did you really think I'd be responsible for her forever? Now that you're back, there's naturally no role for her. I said nothing, merely calling my brother. Ethan, about the arranged marriage with the Asher family you mentioned, I accept. Ethan's voice was full of relief. Luna, have you finally come to your senses? Are you willing to let go of the person you like? Yes, that's right. That's how it should be. Speaking from a man's perspective, if I truly liked a girl, I would wholeheartedly pursue her. How could I bear to leave a woman feeling so insecure? My hands paused as I packed my luggage. Ethan didn't know that the man I had always loved was his good friend Julian. From the moment he first seduced me into intimacy, I had already sensed his indifference. But back then my heart was entirely set on him and I didn't think much of it. Even when he ignored me, I would simply rationalize it to myself with the excuse that he was busy. Driven by my own wishful thinking, I had been entangled with him for a full 6 years. 6 years, enough time for ice to melt. Yet Julian had never truly looked at me. I should have woken up much sooner. After packing my luggage, I knocked on Julian's door. A woman's voice answered from inside. Who is it? The maid. The door opened to reveal a striking face. It was Camilla. She stared at me, her mouth slightly agape, her eyebrows raised as she sized me up. You're Luna? Yes, Miss Camilla. Shouldn't you be at the company at this hour? Why have you come home? She was clearly acting like the lady of the house. Yet I was the one who had lived there for 6 years. In fact, every single fixture inside had been carefully chosen and purchased by me. But I had no right to say any of this to her. I'm here to see Mr. Julian and to pack my things. You certainly know your place. I don't even have to rush you out. She smiled, glancing back at the bathroom. Julian's taking a shower, though. Then she deliberately lowered her voice and emphasized, You're quite good at picking your timing. If you'd come any earlier, neither of us would have been free to open the door for you. Her words felt like 1,000 tiny needles, deeply piercing my heart. My heart twisted in pain, shriveling into a knot. But I managed to maintain a serene expression. Understood, Miss Camilla. Would you please tell Mr. Julian that I placed the documents he needs in the study? With that, I turned and walked away, afraid that if I stayed any longer, I wouldn't be able to control the tremor in my voice. But from behind me, Julian called out. He had just emerged from the bathroom, his tone cold. Didn't I tell you not to come here for a while? I was about to open my mouth to explain, but then I saw him put an arm around Camilla's shoulders, a worried expression on his face. She didn't say anything unpleasant to you, did she? Camilla leaned into his embrace. No, the girl is quite nice. She even brought the documents home just for you. Why would she say anything unpleasant? It's you, though. How many times have I told you not to act like you're intentionally making things difficult for people? After all, it hasn't been easy for her living under someone else's roof all these years. Julian pinched her cheek, a smile curving his lips. I know you're always so understanding. I clenched my fists. I understood the deeper meaning behind Julian's words. Simply mean. I was being unreasonable. Over the years, I'd heard Julian's friends talk about Camilla more than once. Camilla, she's the apple of Julian's eye. It's true what they say. In Julian's heart, no matter how beautiful a woman is, she can't compare to Camilla. Don't let Julian's string of women fool you. The moment Camilla shows up, no one else matters. The name Camilla felt like a nightmare constantly hovering over my head. Especially when I learned of her return a few days ago, I panicked immediately. So during a moment of intimacy with Julian, I seized the chance to bring her up, but all I got was Julian's cold scorn. No one has ever dared to compare themselves to her. You're the first and the most presumptuous. Then he bit at my neck like a madman, whispering a warning in my ear. Luna, Don't think you're special just because you've been by my side for 6 years. You and she, you're worlds apart. Even in the throes of passion at the very end, he would cover my eyes, his voice trembling as he called out, "Camilla." Pulling myself out of the painful memories, I tried to steady my voice. "I apologize. I was indeed out of line today. However, I've already packed my bags, and I won't be coming back here again." Julian frowned slightly, as if something occurred to him. "Perfect. I have a villa in the East neighborhood. You can go stay there for now. After all, your brother asked me to take good care of you, and I can't go back on my word." He thought he had arranged everything perfectly, but I only felt utter sarcasm. 6 years ago, my family went bankrupt, and Ethan was forced to sign a major contract, essentially selling himself to a foreign company. He worried about me, and before he left, he repeatedly cautioned and instructed Julian to take good care of me. But that night, Julian, after drinking, burst into my room. He caressed my face, his eyes filled with desire. "I've liked you for so long. Now I've finally waited for this moment." At that time, I already harbored different feelings for him. Hearing those words, I even thought my secret crush would finally come to light and be reciprocated. So I spent a wild night with him. Only later did I realize it was all my wishful thinking. Now he was so considerate as to give me a house, terrified that I might disrupt his good fortune. I gave a bitter laugh. "No, thank you. The house is too big. It would be a waste for me to live there alone." Camilla, as if hearing something amusing, took my hand and said earnestly, "That's not how you should look at it. Houses are meant to be lived in. Whether one person or several live there, it's still lived in. There's no such thing as waste. Besides, that house in the East isn't even that valuable. If he wants you to stay there, then just do it. I won't argue with him over such minor things." Julian's eyes were solely on her, a faint smile gracing his lips. He let Camilla's words sting me. "You're young now and think a house means nothing. But once you find the right person, just like Julian and me, you'll understand how important it is to have a home." With that, she looked around, a hint of regret in her expression. "Although I'm with Julian now, this house never feels quite comfortable. I don't know why. Maybe it's because someone else lived here. Or maybe it's too small. In any case, my house abroad is much bigger than this. I can't imagine how cramped it will be here after I marry Julian." Julian took her hand, gently comforting her. "I put you through too much. I've been looking at new land recently, and once it's finalized, we'll start construction right away." I remembered the contract Julian had rushed me to deliver. It was for a plot of land he'd outbid a rival company for. He had hastily, without regard for the high price, bought it back. It was all for Camilla. Yet just last night, he had held me as he fell asleep peacefully. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. "Thank you for your kindness, Miss Camilla, but I won't be needing the house. After working all these years, I can certainly afford to buy a place of my own. The size of the house or where I lived didn't matter. I just didn't want to be entangled with them anymore." The next day, I drafted my resignation letter and took it to Julian's office. All the way there, I heard numerous whispers behind me. I tried to compose myself. I watched as the same colleagues who used to flatter me now kicked me while I was down. Why is Luna still showing up? Camilla is already back in the country, and she's still clinging to Mr. Julian. What else can she do? The family is bankrupt. If she doesn't cling to Mr. Julian like a lifeline, how will she survive? I've been sick of her for ages. To put it nicely, she's a fallen princess. To put it bluntly, isn't she just a bad luck charm whose family went bankrupt and parents died? It's disgusting. Exactly. Always traveling with Mr. Julian, flying here and there, thinking she's so favored by him. She's nothing but a free bedmate. What's there to flaunt? The letter in my hand crumpled into a wrinkled mess. I slowly turned around, looking at those who had cast unfriendly glances my way. Why whisper unhappily behind my back? Why not say it to my face? Those people rudely rolled their eyes until Camilla appeared. Her powerful aura and raised voice silenced everyone. Let's see who's playing gossipmonger here. Immediately, she stood in the middle of the crowd from moments ago, looking at them one by one. Care to repeat that to my face? Or should I call Julian over and let him hear how you're failing to work properly and instead gossiping about others? Everyone's expressions turned to horror. and they scattered in all directions. When I arrived at the office, Julian was there. He didn't even lift his head, reprimanding me as usual. "You've been by my side for so many years and I wonder what you've learned." Camilla pretended not to notice him with an expression of sisterly concern, and she lectured me. "Luna, when you hear such negative comments, you must bravely fight back. You've been with Julian for 6 years. Don't you know how to put them in their place? If you're so easily pushed around, how will you manage your work in the future? If you can't even handle this, aren't you just causing trouble for Julian?" Julian scoffed. "Some people can't be taught, but they'll learn with experience. Why bother with her?" Camilla frowned, feigning annoyance. "Julian, are you talking harshly again? Luna is still young after all, and it's normal for her to handle some things improperly. Besides, you always keep Luna by your side. And when it happens often, colleagues are bound to gossip. That's when you need to step in and teach Luna how to handle it properly. She'll understand. Don't you agree, Luna?" My heart felt as if it were blocked by a massive stone. Just a moment ago, when she stood up for me, I had felt a flicker of gratitude. It turned out she was just using me as a contrast to show Julian how sensible she was. I didn't want to play along anymore. So I walked silently to the desk, my face serene. "Julian, this is my resignation letter." And Julian, who had been looking down at his documents, froze for a moment upon hearing me. Then his expression returned to normal. "Go on. What is it now?" "Nothing. I simply want to resign." Julian finally looked up at me, but his eyes held scrutiny and mockery. "Resign? 3 years ago, you submitted a resignation letter threatening me to take you on a trip. A year ago, you also submitted a resignation letter saying you didn't want to work anymore and wanted to find your brother. And I had to take you on another trip to placate you. What about this time?" He leaned back in his office chair, legs crossed. He sounded somewhat helpless. "Luna, do you think my time is cheap? Constantly dealing with your drama." A sharp pain suddenly struck my chest. I clearly remembered why I had resigned those 2 times. Once it was because he was drunk and mistook me for Camilla. Another time it was because he and Camilla were arguing on the phone, and he abandoned me in a secluded village. All my deeply buried grievances were now dismissed as drama by him. An indescribable ache surged from the depths of my heart, rushing to my throat. Finally, it turned into powerlessness. I let out a soft laugh. "You never needed to placate me. Not before and certainly not now. As for your time, it is indeed precious. So I won't waste it anymore." A hint of anger tined Julian's eyebrows. "Luna, this is your last chance. Take the letter back and I'll pretend this never happened." Camilla, seeing Julian's displeasure, came over to mediate. "Luna, why are you always threatening to resign? No one's forcing you out of here. What would you do if you resigned? Look at you. Julian's getting angry. Quick, take the letter back." I took a step back. "No need. I'm not doing this job anymore. You can find whoever you want." To my surprise, Camilla insisted on stuffing the resignation letter into my arms. I gently pushed her hand away. In a flash, Camilla stumbled and fell to the floor. "Eight. Luna, have you lost your mind?" Julian lunged forward, roughly pushing me away. I didn't touch her. He completely ignored my explanation, his voice trembling with panic. "Camilla, did you hurt yourself when you fell?" Camilla braced herself on his arm, standing up with faint bravery. "I'm fine. I just accidentally twisted my ankle. It has nothing to do with her." My heart turned to ice. Julian refused to see through such clumsy acting and tricks. I couldn't hold back any longer. My voice rose and my grievances poured out. It had nothing to do with me. "From the moment I went to the house to pack my things, you've been targeting me. I don't understand why you're still doing this when I'm leaving." "Shut your mouth." Julian, enraged at me and pained for her, snapped. "At a time like this, you're still thinking of others. Can't you ever think about yourself?" Camilla's face was full of apology. "I'm sorry. I don't know when I ever targeted you." The next second, Julian violently slammed the ceramic pen holder on the desk to the ground. "Luna, how long are you going to keep this damn drama up with me? I don't have time to play these childish games of you plate me. I plate you every day. Your brother asked me to look after you, but did you really take me for your mother? Chasing after you and begging you to stay with me repeatedly?" I watched the ceramic pen holder, which he and I had personally molded, shatter into pieces on the floor. My heart shattered too. Tears streamed down my face. I'm causing drama. What the hell have I done to cause drama with you? All this time you treated me as her substitute and I said nothing. Even when she returned and confronted me at every turn, I said nothing. Now I don't want to be involved in your affairs anymore. I want to leave. I've already submitted my resignation letter. So why are you still doing this? What have I done wrong to make you treat me this way? A flicker of surprise and then panic crossed Julian's eyes. I only found it hypocritical. I wiped away my tears and looked at Camilla smiling. I said unreservedly, "He's not a good person. Neither are you. You two truly deserve each other." Julian's panic lasted only a moment, especially when he heard me speak of his beloved in such a way. He loved me to the core. Camilla, don't stop her. Let her get out. As I watched his fury, my heart felt an unprecedented calm. Then I turned and walked away without looking back. 9. A month after I left, after I had settled into my new place and taken care of everything, I called my brother. "Ethan, I resigned from Julian's company." "What happened? Did he yell at you?" Suppressing my hurt, I feigned composure. "No, I just wanted a change of work, and I've already found a new job." He was about to say more, but I took the initiative and spoke first. "Besides, haven't I agreed to the arranged marriage with the Asher family? When you're marrying someone else, you should, after all, establish some boundaries with other members of the opposite sex." Ethan agreed. He then sent me an address. "Oh right. The Asher family member has also returned from abroad. Why don't you go meet your fiancé today?" I agreed. Before I hung up, Ethan's voice was full of apologies. "The one you're marrying isn't the Asher family heir, but their youngest son. If it were before, we might hesitate, but you know our family situation now. Ethan tried his best to find you someone with good prospects." I shook my head. Since our bankruptcy, the major families had avoided us like the plague. If I hadn't held on so firmly, I feared I wouldn't even have my current life. Especially the Asher family, whose businesses span the globe. This was already more than enough. Ethan continued to advise me. "If after meeting him you truly don't like him, Ethan will find a way to get you out of it. Don't worry, I've got your back." I swallowed my tears and hung up the phone. This time, no matter who it was, it didn't matter. The outcome would be the same anyway. Before entering the private room, I hadn't expected so many people. "You must be Asher's fiancé. Come sit here." The person invited me to the center of the crowd. Asher stepped out for some air. "He'll be back once everyone has arrived. If you need anything, just let me know. I'm his assistant." After saying this, the person stopped speaking proactively, standing beside me like a personal guard. In the corner, some people occasionally cast inquisitive glances, but they were all friendly. After making eye contact, they would smile at me. My heart settled until the door opened again. I looked up and saw Julian. My heart immediately began to pound. How could I run into him even here? I tried my best to avoid his gaze, but my position was too conspicuous. He spotted me instantly. "What are you doing here?" I had intended to pretend not to know him, but he spoke directly. "Are you stalking me? Do stalkers usually arrive at the destination first?" I frowned, putting some distance between us. "I'm here to meet someone." He sneered, leaning closer to me. "Meeting someone or meeting me? We haven't been in touch for a month and you just show up here. Who told you I'd be here?" I met his gaze. I imperceptibly took a step back. "Are we close?" His eyes darkened and his face turned grim. He immediately grabbed my hand and started walking towards the door. "Stop pretending. You can find me anytime you want. So what's all this commotion about? Let go of me. I told you I'm not here for you." I struggled. Asher's assistant immediately stepped in front of us. Mr. Julian Luna was invited by our young master. Julian's body stiffened and he finally let go of my hand. He looked at me, then at Asher's assistant. "Young master? Who's young master?" The assistant didn't speak, quietly looking behind Julian. Asher was leaning against the doorframe, watching us with great interest. That would be me, Asher from the Asher family. The music was instantly cut off. All the lights brightened to their maximum setting. Everyone stood up and looked towards us. Asher walked to my side, gave me a deep look. Then a smile spread across his lips. Julian's brows immediately furrowed. His face filled with concern. This is my assistant. She's being foolish and just barged in. I'll take her out now. Assistant. Asha raised an eyebrow slightly, put an arm around my shoulder, and looked down at me. Were you really that hard up before? Working as someone's assistant? I pursed my lips, unsure what to say. Julian's face turned deathly pale. Mr. Asher, if you need a woman, I can introduce you to plenty, but she's not an option. Asher looked as if he'd heard something hilarious. What's this talk about? Mr. Julian, what nonsense are you spouting? My fiancé is right here after all. Julian's expression froze. Fiancé? Luna, what does this mean? In just 1 month, you've become someone else's fiancé. Mr. Julian, what exactly do you mean by that? Asher's tone was leisurely, but his face already showed displeasure. Even if I kept holding back, Julian would still cling to me like a mad dog. My voice was as calm as water. Are you implying that my becoming someone's fiancé requires your permission? A flicker of surprise crossed Julian's face. Asher raised an eyebrow, a lazy smile playing in his eyes as he looked at me. I continued to question Julian. Mr. Julian, I don't quite understand why you're so concerned about the private life of an employee who has already resigned. Are you suggesting that because I was your assistant for a few years, I'm supposed to work under you for the rest of my life? Julian was rendered speechless by my questions. Finally, he forced himself to hold his temper. Luna, I was entrusted by your brother to look after you, and you just turn around and do this. How am I supposed to explain this to Ethan? It was the same old story. In the past 6 years I had hit rock bottom, and there had been men who pursued me. He would always chase those men away from me as if they were flies. That's what made me mistakenly believe he felt something different for me. Every time I asked him why, he would say, I'm helping your brother take care of you. So, of course, I can't let unsuitable men get close to you. Now it was that same excuse again. I felt a sense of relief I had never felt before. Smiling, I said, then you can rest assured now. Asher, my brother, introduced him to me. Julian tried to press further but gave him no chance. Mr. Julian, everything has been made perfectly clear. I don't understand why you're still bothering my fiancé. With one sentence he put Julian on the spot. Julian was stumped and said nothing more. Asher, on the other hand, gentlemanly released his hand from my shoulder and led me to the main seat. After casually greeting everyone, his attention returned to me. Your relationship with Julian isn't ordinary. I had no intention of hiding anything. No, I used to like him. He seemed a little surprised by my frankness. You're not even going to pretend in front of your fiancé? There's nothing to pretend. You could easily find out about small matters like this, couldn't you? During the confrontation earlier, my palms had grown sweaty. I wiped my hands, picked up the glass in front of me, and downed it in one gulp. It's better to clarify some issues before marriage to avoid arguments later. Asher leaned back on the sofa, nodded in agreement, then leisurely spoke. You're right, but you drank my wine. My hand froze. I saw the red lipstick stain on the rim of the glass. Instantly my ears burned with embarrassment. What am I supposed to do if you finished it? Then should I ask the assistant to get you a new bottle? Charge it to my account. As I spoke I started to rise but my wrist was caught. Asher gently pulled, and I tumbled onto the sofa. His long arm circled me, casting a shadow over me. I don't want a new one. I want that exact glass. I blinked. Spit it out. That would be too disgusting. He slowly leaned closer, his face inches from mine. From an outsider's perspective, it looked like we were already kissing, but he only smiled, making no further move. He was just teasing me maliciously. The person you like is watching you, you know. So what? I looked at the lips in front of me, glistening with moisture. Closing my eyes, I kissed him. In the corner there was the sound of a glass shattering. After a brief peck I pulled back slightly, emphasizing that I used to like him but I didn't like him anymore. After I spoke, Asher's lips curved into a smile. The alcohol was getting to my head, and I felt a blush creep up. I wanted to pull away, but he kept the back of my head and deepened the kiss. After a good while he finally let go. He raised an eyebrow, his tone playful. You initiated that. I leaned on his shoulder, catching my breath. My gaze met those cold, dark eyes in the corner. Yes, I did. Asher decided to end the gathering early. After notifying the driver to bring the car around, I waited for him outside the restroom, but an uninvited guest entered my line of sight. Luna. Julian was drunk. Have you really thought this through? I looked at him, confused by his expression. What does that have to do with you? What the hell do you mean it has nothing to do with me? Realizing his outburst, he composed himself. Do you know how wild Asher used to be in his younger days abroad? How can you be with him and become his fiancé without even saying anything? Is that appropriate? I repeated my question. What does that have to do with you, Julian? I've already resigned, and I already told you that you don't need to explain anything to Ethan. I don't understand what you're trying to do by acting like this now. He stared blankly at me for a moment, then lowered his head and gave a bitter laugh. I don't know what I'm trying to do. I just feel really bad. My heart fluttered for a moment, but it instantly regained its calm. Julian and I both turned our heads. Camilla was walking towards us. Didn't you resign? What are you doing here? Camilla's eyes filled with malice. All her previous politeness was gone. I smiled calmly. My fiancé arranged this gathering, and I came to join the fun. What fiancé? Julian reacted as if triggered by the word. Luna, did you tell me you were with someone else? You're with someone already? You've only known each other for a few days and he's your fiancé. Camilla's face instantly turned incredibly ugly. She helped Julian gently, calling out, Julian, it's Camilla. Camilla, are you getting a fiancé too? Julian was completely disoriented. He was fixated on the word fiancé. Camilla stroked his chest. Of course not. I'll only ever be with you. I didn't want to get involved in their business. I moved further away. Just then, Asher emerged from the restroom. He immediately spotted Julian standing next to me. Upon seeing Asher, her expression instantly changed to one of fawning eagerness. Asher. Oh, I just heard my parents mention these past few days that you'd be returning from abroad. Goodness, I wish I'd known earlier and asked Julian to bring me along. We could have caught up on old times, old classmate. I stood aside, saying nothing. I looked at her, then at Asher. Asher sized her up. Old classmate? Yes, I'm Camilla. I don't recognize you. Camilla's face turned incredibly ugly. Asher explained calmly. Besides, this gathering isn't open to just anyone. Not even girlfriends are allowed, let alone family members. Camilla let out a strained laugh, then glared fiercely at me. I raised an eyebrow. Is something wrong, Miss Camilla? Camilla vented all the frustration she had just swallowed on me, speaking haughtily. Didn't you hear him? Not even girlfriends are allowed. What are you? A former assistant who doesn't know her place, coming here to look for Julian. I found it amusing. Didn't I tell you I was here to see my fiancé? Miss Camilla, do you perhaps think Julian is the only man in the world? Luna, stop pretending. Everyone here today is wealthy and influential. Don't put on airs and embarrass yourself. Asher couldn't listen anymore. He casually draped an arm around my shoulders. Miss Camilla, are you implying that it's embarrassing for Luna to be with me? Camilla abruptly looked at the arm draped over my shoulder. You too. I smiled, not caring about making things worse and deliberately adding fuel to the fire. Perhaps Asher came to my place and spent the night. Honestly, I hadn't intended for him to stay, but after he dropped me off at the door, he sent the driver away directly. He even said, You came to my gathering tonight to check me out, so shouldn't I check you out too? I couldn't refuse. But his comment about him being a player still echoed in my mind. Given his playboy demeanor that night, I wasn't sure if he'd acknowledged me as his fiancé just to save face or if he genuinely found it amusing. So, after he showered and was about to get into bed, I spoke first. How many exes have you had? Be honest. He wasn't angry at all that I was probing into his private life. Instead, his smile deepened. Why do you ask? No reason. Just asking. If you don't want to say, then don't. He climbed into bed, lying beside me. No serious relationships. No serious relationships implied he hadn't had any serious girlfriends, just casual partners. I felt a bit disgusted at him being in my bed now, so I moved further away. To my surprise, he immediately pressed closer, gripping my shoulder as he asked, What's wrong? Are you disappointed I haven't had any serious relationships? I evaded his hand. In a low, serious voice I said, let's get a premarital health checkup before we get married. If there's anything, we can treat it first. The person behind me fell silent. I distinctly felt a chill. I turned around. Asher's face had turned very dark, veins bulging on his forehead. Luna, do you seriously believe that deadbeat Julian's nonsense? Nothing happened that night because I was angry all night. The next day there was a knock on the door. It was Julian. Surprisingly, his face was flushed with emotion. He grabbed my hand. Have you thought it through? You're not marrying him. I found it baffling. Are you crazy? Just as I was about to close the door, his hand clung to the door frame. His eyes were pleading. Luna, will you listen to a few words from me? I watched him in silence. He looked helpless. I've been thinking these past few days. I shouldn't have lost my temper with you. I shouldn't have driven you away. I found it amusing. You didn't drive me away. I left on my own. And do you think my time is cheap? That you'd come all the way to my house just to say such nonsense? My past words became boomerangs, striking him hard. I felt no satisfaction. He deserved it after all. He was stung, his face twisting in pain. I came to take you home. After all, for these 6 years you were truly by my side, weren't you? So I want you to come back with me. We can sit down and talk properly just like before. I watched with interest as he planned things that didn't exist. What about Camilla? At the mention of her name, he looked at a loss for words. He hesitated for 2 minutes. Then he said, Camilla, she's my childhood sweetheart after all. We grew up together. Her relationship with me and my relationship with you, they're just different. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. You grew up together? How many 6 years is that? You've had so many 6 years with her and you still care about the 6 years you had with me. Oh right. You don't care about me. You simply want to have your cake and eat it too. Seeing that I had seen through him, a flicker of embarrassment crossed his eyes. No, you want to play king. Check if you have the power first. What exactly do you think you are? I raised my hand to close the door, preparing to send him away. But then he suddenly raised his voice, demanding, Then why did you call me here? Did you just want to see me crawl over here like a dog? Begging and getting humiliated by you. I genuinely didn't understand what he meant by that. I was about to retort. Just then, Asher slowly descended the stairs. Asher's pajama belt was tied loosely. He looked like he'd just emerged from a passionate encounter, now annoyed by an unwelcome interruption. I called you here to apologize, not to listen to you spouting all that nonsense. Asher sat casually on the sofa, legs crossed. He idly lifted his gaze. But you're right. He is pretty much like a dog. So, it's only right for my wife to humiliate you. In my home, people like you would be kneeling in gratitude, even after being humiliated. Julian's eyes were bloodshot. He wanted to speak but dared not, able only to clench his fists tightly. I'd seen enough of him getting put in his place. I was utterly sick of that face. I couldn't be bothered with him. I wanted to turn around and go back upstairs to sleep, but Asher reached out and pulled me into his arms. Why are you leaving? I specifically asked him to come here and apologize to you. A few days ago, that little shrew by his side publicly humiliated you right in front of me. You're not going to let that slide, are you? He ran his hand through my hair, adding softly in my ear, I play the field, making you misunderstand me. That seriously affects our relationship. This score absolutely needs to be settled. I couldn't help but laugh. It's actually because of the latter, isn't it? Asher simply arched an eyebrow, offering no comment. Our interaction seemed to deeply sting Julian's eyes. He pointed at Asher with a desperate resolve. You're nothing but the youngest in the Asher family. Do you really think your dad and brother will let you throw your weight around like this? Do you really think your dad and brother will let you off the hook for rejecting me and the Camilla family's contract for some woman? Asher was completely unfazed by the threat. He frowned and scoffed. That's mere pocket change. Do you really think our family elders would bother stepping in? Besides, so what if I'm the youngest? See which of my 2 brothers would ever deny me what I want. He twirled my hair around his finger. You should really stop reading so many stories of sibling rivalries in wealthy families, he teased. The assets of our family's illegitimate children alone are enough to support you and the Camilla family. Julian clenched his fists. He was here, filled with bitter indignation and nowhere to unleash it. Finally, he found an outlet in me, Luna. Was your love for me a lie? How could you move on so quickly? Do you really not want me anymore? I looked at him and couldn't help but chuckle. Asher raised an eyebrow, tapping his temple, looking utterly embarrassed for Julian. I didn't answer, simply leaning in to press a light kiss on Asher's face. Julian, that's my answer. Then I turned and walked upstairs. As I stepped onto the first stair, I spoke again. Thinking about ever liking you just makes me sick. That day, I had the most peaceful sleep I'd had in 6 years. When I woke up, I saw Asher lying peacefully beside me. Sunlight streamed onto his profile, his high nose casting a shadow. Looking closely at him, I realized he was truly handsome. Awake, his muffled voice reached my ear. Yes, then go back to sleep for a bit. No need. I'll get up and make some food. I'm hungry. As soon as I spoke, his arm circled my lower back, pulling me into his embrace. Make food. You've been busy for a while now. Take a rest. I brought all the personal chefs home. Just tell me what you want to eat. It was simply ridiculously extravagant. Although my life used to be like this, after 6 years of being worn down, returning to this kind of life felt a bit surreal. I found myself unable to adapt completely. Asher, have you never experienced hardship since you were little? He opened his eyes, raising an eyebrow casually. Why would I need to experience hardship? True. It would be strange if someone from his family's background had to suffer. I probed. What about your family? Didn't they put any pressure on you? I implied something and he understood. You also think I'm not favored because I'm the youngest? That my brother and dad don't like me? After all, when Ethan talked to me, he did imply something along those lines. Seeing my expression, Asher looked a little helpless. Did it ever occur to you that I'm favored because I'm the youngest? Given my 2 brothers' methods, if they didn't like me, I wouldn't have even made it out of my mother's womb. Besides, we're full brothers, same parents. How could they treat me badly? In fact, they're constantly urging me to come back, practically begging me to take on some assets and help manage them. As he spoke, he gently pinched my cheek. What kind of nonsense has Julian been teaching you? Oh right. Here's his apology video. Abruptly changing the subject, he handed me a tablet. You deal with it. Watching the once haughty Julian calmly kneeling on screen, offering his apology, I felt a moment of unreality. After watching it just once, I put the tablet down. The old me would definitely have sent this video of him kneeling and apologizing to everyone, letting Julian face public scorn. But then I remembered Ethan, who was abroad when we were down on our luck. Julian had helped Ethan out a great deal, so I decided against it. However, I didn't expect Ethan to find out anyway. He came roaring back from abroad, first busying himself with attending my wedding to Asher, and then with settling scores with Julian. After creating a huge scene, Julian fell into a slump. I heard he languished for days, and in despair, he even sent that kneeling apology video to Miss Camilla, asking her if he was truly useless. But this time Miss Camilla didn't offer him any gentle comfort. She both resented Julian for embarrassing her, and for still holding a sliver of my presence in his heart. So she directly had her father cancel her engagement to Julian, deciding to go abroad and never return. But things didn't end there because they canceled the Camilla family's contract. Their cash flow almost dried up completely. Miss Camilla's father brought Miss Camilla to personally apologize. Asher gave them the cold shoulder, refusing to see them. Even after many days, I kept receiving apology messages from Miss Camilla. Despite all this, Ethan was still furious. I quickly tried to comfort him. It's all in the past. It's nothing. Damn it. I asked him to look after you, and this is how he treated you, even bringing someone else to bully you. Ethan's eyes rained as he spoke. You never had to suffer hardships growing up, which is why I didn't make you come abroad with me. If I had known this would happen, I would have dragged you with me, even if it killed me. With Dad gone, I only have you left, and I still let you suffer for 6 years. It's my fault as your brother. He was consumed by self-blame, accusing himself of entrusting me to the wrong person. But I just felt that it was just right. Just right, making me cherish the people around me now. Asher knelt down, his expression more serious than I had ever seen it. Ethan, it won't happen again. I'll protect her. He wasn't just talking big. After the wedding, he voluntarily transferred all his shares to my name, enough to ensure 3 generations would live comfortably. He said, I can protect you, and I can also give you the means to protect yourself, Luna. You won't suffer again.